Welcome to Junk Monkey Live, Season 4, Episode 2. We have with us tonight Julian, the Bearded Thrift Machine. How are you tonight, Julian?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
Pretty good. It's a little warm out here.
A little warm. It's getting there.
So last week I invited you to come watch the show, and you asked if you could be on, and here we are. And I meant to do it a lot earlier than I did, but Mondays are like super busy for me. You actually ended up putting the word out on Instagram before I did. I filmed a little reel and shot that out a couple hours later. We got Christopher Nutter in the house. We got Tina with the Lake Exchange in the house. The Pickin' Preacher said he'd be trying to stop in from time to time. He's got a live show starting at 8:30 his time. But tonight I thought you and I would talk about some of the stuff that we both like. And that would be tools, golf clubs, and maybe if we get a little more time, some fishing reels.
Yeah, that sounds good. I'm a big fan of all of that. I think you probably have a lot more knowledge and tools than me.
Oh, I doubt it.
No, that's not true. I just take guesses a lot of times. I may play smart, but I just look on the phone, really.
I do the same thing, man. As you know, everybody knows Snap-on, Craftsman, and few people know SK.
Yeah.
And when it comes to hand tools, that's all I know. Everything else I have to look up.
Mm-hmm.
And I have spent untold hours listing Craftsman sockets, the made in USA ones.
Oh, yeah.
And I've sold a bunch of them. But little Miss Q is in the house tonight. How are you?
Miss Q.
And but yeah, those sockets, man. And I still got bags and bags full of them. I run up on a place that had them $5 a bag, and they were like 1 gallon Ziploc bags, and probably 85% of what was in the bag was all Craftsman stuff. But it seemed like somebody flipped a switch when I started listing them, and they were selling and they were selling and they were selling. And then all of a sudden, click, somebody turned the lights out, and Craftsman sockets just weren't selling anymore.
Yeah, I would agree with that because we have a lot, like a good bit. And what I've been doing is I've been taking them all. We've been kind of going through our store and stuff, and I've been taking like a good bit of them. And now I just put them all in lots. My stuff is already paid for. Like I'm already in the profit on them. So we've just been selling huge, and you don't have to, you don't really have to like separate them. All I do is like put them in a padded flat rate. I take a picture of them, basically what they are, make sure they're all made in the United States. So there's something common there. They're not like newer ones, they're the older ones.
Right.
And then I just sell them cheap. I sell a whole bunch of them for $10 or $15 just so I can get them gone. Yeah. I'm also going through my personal toolboxes recently, and I'm selling like stuff that I got doubles of. Like, don't need that much, and we're trying to get more room.
I have to have triples before I sell them. Because you always lose one, or you crack it when you're trying to break a stubborn bolt. And
yeah, triples would probably be pretty smart.
I've always gone by the rule: 1 is none, 2 is 1. So I like to have 3.
Yeah, some of that stuff I got a lot of. Like I have 1 million breaker bars. There's no reason to have this many.
I honestly don't think I own a breaker bar right
I'll
now.
Send you one. I will send you I'll send you a good 1/2-inch drive Craftsman breaker bar.
Yeah. Now that's something when you start talking about the really big tools, stuff like diesel and heavy equipment mechanics, you run into their tools, and I'm talking stuff with like 3/4-inch drive, 1-inch drive, just monster sockets and wrenches. And some of that stuff still brings really good money. I mean, even the cheap stuff, you can put it up $20 or $30 and get it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, I agree. Because it's hard to find that number. It's like when you find it at a yard sale or something, you're only going to find that you're right at a heavy mechanic, like a heavy truck mechanic or a diesel mechanic or something that's going to have that. But you're right. They sell, especially if you ever found like a name brand one.
Oh, yeah.
Big money.
I think I still have 1 or 2 pieces left, but I want to tell you, in my area, yard sales, not that good.
Really?
You will run around all day long, burn a 1/2 tank of gas, and you may find 4 or 5 things.
Yeah.
With very little exception. And the exceptions for me, the 3 best, actually 2 best, because one of them was the same place twice. But the best yard sales I've ever found in this town, directly across the street from my house. One of them has his place is set way back off the road, and they're kind of quiet people. We never knew what they were doing back there, but he had a full car shop back there.
Really?
And I had to come home and get my wife's big Gorilla garden wagon to go back over there and drag all the stuff back. And it had a bunch of the big heavy duty tools.
You know that you hit a good yard sale when you have to go get a wagon. Like,
Yeah.
Let me go grab my wagon real quick. I'll be right back.
And they had another one over there a couple of weeks ago, and I went over and I should have took a bag with me, an IKEA bag or something with me. I didn't think they could have gathered up that much more stuff in a year, but no tools this time. But I did get just a double armload of new sealed DVDs and Blu-rays.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
I think I paid 50 cents a piece for them, and I've already well made my money back on them. As 2 or 3 of them were out of print, rare, whatever. But
yeah, that's all sells. All of it's easy to list, easy to ship. I'm a big fan of that.
Yeah, I love easy to ship, easy to list, and my favorite thing amongst all of those is the remote controls.
Yeah, we big fan of those. They once you figure out which ones to look for and find, they're pretty good.
Colin's on the move. Chrissy is here, and Sarah from the Daily Cabbage is here. Hello, girls. Thank you for coming by. I get my remotes from the Goodwill bins.
Yeah, we don't have one of those.
Yeah, man, I wish you did. Those things for stuff like that is great.
I should open one up.
Electronics there are 59 cents a pound, and most remote controls only weigh 3 or 4 ounces. So you get 2 or 3 of them for $1, $1.50, and then you sell them for anywhere from $5 to $25.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They're easy to test, easy to clean. Even if the batteries have leaked in them fairly badly, you just scrub out all that stuff, put a little vinegar on the contacts in there, scrub it around, and then blow it out. And maybe I use a little denatured alcohol and rinse the vinegar out, blow it out with my air compressor, put batteries in it, and it either works or it doesn't.
Yeah.
More often than not, they work.
And they're not that hard to actually take apart.
No,
they're pretty. Just get you a little tool and boop, boop, and them whole things will start coming apart.
Yeah, I rarely do that. If just cleaning the battery compartment doesn't work, I go ahead and toss it. I'm not spending too much time on one. You know?
I've done that before just to see if I could get it to work, and
Right.
I never did. No.
Yeah,
but they do come apart pretty easy.
Yeah. But yeah, man, that's pretty much anything with the batteries, like toys and stuff. If it's got battery corrosion in it. Well, I work on quartz watches all the time, and I do the same thing with those. If I got a little battery corrosion in there, I go in there and scrape it out. And a little tiny drop of vinegar in there, and then wipe that out and put a battery in it. It'll work. Most of the time.
I usually scared when I see battery corrosion. I'm like, yeah. I had a
well, it's one of those things. If it's a $40 item and they're asking me to pay them $20 for it, and it's got, and I'm like, nah.
Yeah, too much.
But if it's if I'm getting it from the bins and it's like 50 cents, or a yard selling it's 50 cents, it doesn't bother me for that kind of stuff.
100%.
It's worth it there. But
I had a mag light the other day, and it was a nice one. It was a Mac Tools mag light, which I've never seen before. So I looked it up. It was worth like $50. I couldn't get the cap off at the yard sale, like where you would see the batteries. And I was like, no big deal. I'm sure I can get off at home. So I paid like $5 for it. Get home. It was like literally welded to this thing. I finally, the
battery swelled up in it.
Yep. I finally put it in a vise and got some pretty big vice grips on it. And it still, all I did was just start rounding. Just take shards of metal and aluminum off the mag light.
At that point, it's just, you don't care if you make it work or not. But I
wanted to see what was inside of it. I was like, what is inside this thing? Yeah.
I've actually seen a Snap-on mag light.
Really? Yes.
Yeah.
I would buy one. I would probably keep that.
Speaking of Snap-on,
look at the race. There, so many people don't know what that is now on my YouTube channel, because that's that thing is. I got. You know how many I have left? I have 2 left.
2 left.
2 left. A lot of people still don't know what that is.
I know I ended up buying or I don't remember how many I paid for, but you ended up sending me 4 or 5 of them. And,
yeah.
The last batch that I bought from you asked you to sign it for me, and then I sent you the rest back because they were flying off the shelf at that point.
So fast. It was. I actually couldn't believe it. I was like, I can't believe that people were buying this from me. It was crazy because we sold all of them. I only have one back there. because it's just funny. And then the other one I have up there that I think I'm going to give away sometime.
It was a good luck charm for me because I know when I bought it, my sales were in the tank and it was Christmas time. And from the time I got it and the time you sold out, I went from having really terrible sales to having like 148% increase over my 31 days. So,
yeah, see, that's good. That is
yeah.
good. I should have had. I wish I had 100,000 of those.
In fact, I contacted Kevin because he was real big on the Enamans or whatever.
Oh yeah,
And he's like, Enema Man may get things moving, but Snap-on fixes stuff.
that's right. Fixes the store right up. I got the two.
Yeah.
I got two of them in back there.
Yeah, I've got mine. I don't have him in here. I've got him in the house, and I've got one of them that he had made. I don't have one of the originals.
Yeah,
Every time I bid on them, they just got ridiculously high. And
things are they're people like them. It was cool how he did that. It's neat how you see how people market different things.
Yeah.
Me, I was like, I bought a whole bunch of these for 10 cents. They're junk and they never sold.
Well, it's marketing sometimes. You got to market stuff. You can sell ice to an Eskimo if you market it right.
That's right.
And I've known people that can do that. I don't think I'm that good, but there are people out there that can.
I'm not that good either.
So we talked about tools and a couple other things. Golf clubs. Man, I'm telling you, golf clubs there for a while for me were super hot, but here lately they've been a thorn in my side.
We've been doing still pretty good. And I have we live on the basically opposite sides of the country. So you live on the west, I live on the east, and we're basically, I'm guessing you're over there. It doesn't matter if you're on the coast or not, you're still like over there. So our shipping on those is always a pain for us because if I ship to California or I ship to Oregon, it's going to be expensive. You ship over here, it's expensive. I now, though, everything goes UPS, and I make sure my box is under 48 inches, like not even near it.
Yeah, and the 48 4x4s, they end up being 48 and a half, so they get charged for 49. So you better make sure you chop an inch off the end of one of those things.
100%. That should be like, because we got caught with that pretty bad.
I did too.
Yeah, like a lot. And so now I chop all the boxes. We actually keep the off-fall for, other things.
Yeah.
But
I've got a great big stack of them right here.
Yeah. We haven't really found anything they're good for. We just
I don't know if they're good for anything, but when you need a long, skinny box that's 11 or 12 inches long.
It's true.
Perfect.
That is true.
I use them. Hey, Marie is here.
Hello, Marie.
But I do free returns.
Sure.
For that 10% off on my fees.
Mm-hmm.
And selling some of the stuff I do, like the Rolexes, if you owe them $1,000 in final value fees, that 10% off, that's $100, man. And $100 is a tank of gas and a little bit of spending money for me. So it's worth it to do that. But I had to take a return on a golf club today. And this is like the third time in a row I've had to go on a left-hand golf club. Says it right in the title, says it in the item specifics, says it right in the description. Left-hand club. Guy gets it in and he opens a return. Ordered by mistake, left-hand club. I'm like, and he beat me up as a Callaway something or another. Sold it to him for 20 plus shipping.
Sure.
The bad thing about having free returns where eBay automatically generates the return label, the only return labels they use are USPS priority. So golf clubs have that surcharge for anything over 30 inches. So it's going to cost me more to get that thing back than what I sold it to him for.
Oh, yeah.
Shipping and all. So, and it's like the third left-hand golf club in a row now the first one was my fault because I just sold similar and I forgot to change it over to left-hand.
Sure. I've done
But
that.
the next two, the last one, I'm like, don't send it back to me because he didn't open a return. He just, he messaged me.
Right.
Like, look, I'll just give you get rid of it however you want. Go donate it to Goodwill, whatever. Just don't send it back to me. I'll give you your money back. This guy didn't wait. He just opened a return and printed a label, and it's coming back my way.
Oh yeah, that's rough because they are expensive to ship if you ship it post office. So we got
Well,
caught with one PO box the other day. That very seldom happens. We sell the other day. We sold I think 11 golf clubs in a day, and I haven't had a PO box only in like a long time. So it went to Florida, but still, even that little bit from my house to Florida, which is not that far, it was very expensive.
Yeah,
to ship it.
and that exclusion thing when you're filling out your draft, right at the bottom of the list, you can check post office box. So people with post office box address can't buy it.
Yeah,
and I hate to do that to people, but when it costs like $28 to ship a golf club to the next town over, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, and you're right. That's exactly how much it costs. It costs like $31 to ship it there. Yeah. Florida, $31.
You live in like the golf capital of the world, the Carolinas. Mm-hmm. And so there's a lot of golf people there. I live in the Pacific Northwest, and the only people around here that do golf are like the retired people. And most of them are living on a fixed income. And although some of those fixed incomes are great, they're still a fixed income. So I don't sell many locally. They have to go all the way across the country more often than not. And shipping a golf club from here to Miami can get really expensive.
Oh, yeah.
So what do you charge? Do you use a flat rate price that you charge everybody for shipping on golf clubs?
I don't, but if I did, it would be $12.
See, I used to do it for $12.99, but so many of them were going to South Florida that it was costing me. I was losing money because in the 48 by 4x4 boxes, they cost me. They're not the cheapest box in the world. I think they're like $1.60 to $2 a box.
Yeah, you're on the money. I think they're like we paid like $1.44 a box.
Yeah. Well, you order from Uline and you order bulk. Right. I order like 25 off Amazon. So
yeah. No, but you're right on the money.
I had to raise my price to $14.99 just to cover some of the loss for most of them that I send to the East Coast. So I've been scaling way back on the golf clubs. I know if I run across another one of those Texas Brothers golf clubs, I snag that up in a heartbeat. Yeah. That thing still surprises me that I run up on that thing.
I'm still looking for that one. But yeah, the shipping, it would be because I only use Pirate Ship now. We don't go through eBay. And on Pirate Ship, you can tell where you send everything to, which is very nice with breakdowns. All my golf clubs, actually, most of them stay on the East Coast.
Yeah.
A huge percentage. I don't send a lot to California, Oregon, some to Texas maybe, but majority Florida, Georgia, the same state, North Carolina, they're all in this area. Right. So I think it only costs me to ship a golf club in this area is like $8 or $8.50 with the discount.
Yeah.
So, if I charge $10 or something, I would still have enough to cover the box. But a lot of times, if it's a nice golf club, you use some other padding in there. So that's why I would charge $12 to take like all that out,
For really, really like that Texas Brothers Golf Club. Folks, if y'all don't know, the Texas Brothers Golf Club that I found sold for $500.
That's a good one.
And to look at it, it's just an old school wooden golf club with a metal shaft on it. It's nothing special to look at. It had the shape of Texas in a metal plate inset into the bottom of it. But yeah, that thing sold for $500. And for something like that, I take like a pool noodle and wrap it around the shaft.
Good idea.
And double layer wadded up bubble wrap on either end in the box. That way it's.
Oh yeah, I would have been shoving more, as much stuff I can fit in that box. I'd have shoved in there because they'll break a golf club in half.
I've only ever had one broken. Guy sent me pictures, and I'm like, good Lord, what'd they do? Stand it up on its edge on the corner somewhere and stomp on it, karate kick it? Or he got it in, and it was in multiple pieces.
Yeah, I've had mine. Usually they don't break in half; they break in threes. I've had multiple breaking threes, and
like they must be running over them with the fork truck or something,
They've got to be, or it gets caught in the machine, or like it just twists. I mean, and there's not a lot of damage to the boxes when that happens. It's not like the box is destroyed; the box just looks like it's been bent. So I don't know, but I think I've had like 5 broken in 3 before.
Yeah, I say I'm cutting back, but I've picked up at least 3 in the past week, and it's getting to where It's getting where I leave a lot of golf clubs behind that I used to buy. Because I used to stockpile them during the off season, like the heat of the summer or the dead of winter. I just stockpile them. And then in the spring, I get them all out, clean them all up, draft them and list them all in one big shot. And for the next couple of weeks, I'm just selling golf clubs like crazy. Well, this year when I did that, I sold 4 or 5 real quick, but the rest of them is one here, one there, and I've had to discount them. Clubs that should have been bringing $25 to $35, I'm having to discount them all the way down to $14.99, and then give 10 to 20% off of that just to get them out of here.
Yeah, I would say that like I used to pick up a lot of the old Callaway S4E2 like drivers and all that stuff.
Right.
I don't pick them up anymore unless they're like $1 because they used to sell for 20 and now they only sell for like 15. And it's like, and they don't sell very quickly. So when I'm out looking at golf clubs now, we try to only pick up ones that are like over $25.
Yeah. For me, I'm trying to get $25 to $50 ones or above.
Yep. Because the other ones, they will sell, but they will take a long time to sell. Like
golf clubs are not the easiest thing in the world to store efficiently so you can get back to them and pull the exact one you need quickly. If you just pile them all up, or I used to just put them all in a tall garbage can with the heads up, and it got where I'd spend half an hour going through a trash can full of golf clubs just to find the one. And then if you mess up and you have 2 or 3 that are real similar, it's not hard to ship the wrong one out. Nowadays, I put a SKU number on a little white label and put them on the head, and I've got them just laying on a shelf with the SKU number facing towards me. I'm down to maybe, I don't know, 20 or 30 golf clubs.
We do.
I picked up a tailor-made burner driver the other day.
Pretty good. Yeah, that's not bad. Depending on which one it is, that's good.
It's the one that's got this kind of the square-looking head to it.
Yeah, that's the
big
one.
Older one.
Yeah,
I think it's an RBZ.
Oh yeah, that's real good if it's an RBZ. I
think it is. It's like a $70 club.
Yeah, it's either
it's still in the back seat of the truck.
No, that's always a pickup.
Yeah. And I still like the bullseye brass ones when I find them. I find a lot of them that look like them that have been chrome plated, like Wilson made some that were chrome plated or nickel plated or whatever. No go. But the ones that actually say bullseye on them, those still sell for them. You're not going to get rich quick doing it, but they sell. There's people out there that collect those things.
Yeah, and I don't understand the numbers on them. I sold one. It was like an M5. It was a bullseye M5, and that thing sold for like $50 immediately. And I was like, what's up with the M5s? And then I just did some research. I couldn't figure it out. So, but know that there's different like numbers on those bad boys.
Right.
And like you said, the collectors are collecting a certain like configuration maybe, or the year maybe. There
was a lot of them things given away at events too, especially like college events or the charity events on golf courses. And MD Picker Shay is in the house. How are you tonight?
Hello, Shay. How are you?
But yeah, in fact, I just I don't know. Last year, I found my local Goodwill was actually remodeling, and they moved all the golf clubs to the back room where most people are not allowed to go. I asked about it. I'm like, yeah, come on back. I went back and I found like 6 or 8 ping putters.
Nice.
And I think every one of them was either attributed to some university around here or some special event at a golf course. And those things were sold for good money.
Yeah. Any type of specialty ping is there. We actually haven't like found. I found a whole bunch of Adams the other day that was pretty good. There was
I saw that on one of your videos.
Yeah, the guy was asking like $20 for like a $400 set, and I was like, dude. He's like, I sold 3 sets earlier, and I was thinking, what did you have earlier, bro? That he left this behind and said it was too expensive to buy. I mean,
Adams is one of the golf clubs I don't pick up anymore, but you found a whole set. So,
they have to be the right ones. Like the old Adams idea, they don't sell for me worth nothing. I don't pick those up anymore. But you start getting into like their hybrids, they sell pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, I still run into a lot of Adams idea stuff, but I don't even talk about anymore.
They got a shaft that's like half metal and half graphite. I thought that was a big thing. That's junk.
Yeah, that's just weird anyway.
That is weird. Why you put those two things together? It's stupid looking. Keep it the same material, people. It's crazy.
Yeah. So you just recently went on vacation to Georgia.
We did, yeah.
I can't remember the name of that lake you went to, or the
Lake Chatoog.
Yeah. See, you can't say it either.
No, it's impossible. I actually was like, I don't know if I'm saying this right, and I know that everybody on the YouTube land will yell at me, but I'm going to go ahead and try to say it. It's a nice little lake. We had a good time. We didn't really do anything. I mean, we
Did
just
you do any fishing at all?
No, we were going to, and we realized that we just wanted to go down there and like not have a plan. But we knew we were getting a boat. That's the only thing we did. We're like, let's get a boat, go on the lake, and that's all we did. We just really just relaxed for, I think it was like 4 days or 5 days. We did videos for a day. I got 2 videos out of it, and the rest of the time I did nothing.
You had one for your main channel, which is the Bearded Thrift Machine.
Yep.
You had another one for the Flip Squad, I think.
Yep. They kind of like intermingled there.
It was the same video, but from a little bit of different points of view, basically. Yeah. And you have a third channel that you don't put a whole lot of content on, but it's kind of one of my favorites, and that's when you go out on the boat fishing or whatever. Oh
yeah, we haven't put content on that. Actually, the reason is because we have been working so hard lately. Yeah. And we've literally, we have a boat, like we have a little John boat my dad shares, or actually it's his boat and we share it with him. And we have kayaks, and we have the beach literally like not that far away. We just don't go, like we just haven't been. And we were just talking, Kayla and I were watching some fishermen that we watch on YouTube, and we were like, dude, we got to go fishing next week. Because like we haven't, it's already June, like time is flying by. June. I have not casted, I think, a rod yet. Like nothing. I mean, and it's but we've been incredibly busy. When Kayla started doing this full time, I don't think we realized the amount of money you need to generate to have 2 people full time do this on eBay.
Yeah. And how long has she been full time with you? I know it hasn't. Has it been a year yet?
It's very close to a year. We were actually just talking because her first trip was the 127, which was her first full-time trip as a reseller to start doing stuff. And she quit her job on July 28th, so she's almost there to be at a year. So we've been doing it
pretty good. I watch all your videos, and she knows how to comp things out, and everything I've seen in the video that she's brought you is pretty good stuff.
Yeah, she just picked up it's an RCI turkey. I don't even know what any of this means. 14 karat gold necklace. And she got it for like $2. And we looked it up, and I was like, this thing's worth like $100. Yeah. And so I was like, that's pretty good. That was actually the best thing of the day. I actually wasted money that day. I bought a train set. Guess what it was worth? Nothing.
Yeah. I learned my lesson with train sets.
Man. I don't like trains anymore.
Get upside down on them things so fast
because they look so cool. That's the problem. Yeah. You're like, oh, these things got to be worth like $50 a piece. I get home, they're worth junk. I have
$9.99, $9.89, free shipping, and it's like, man, this thing weighs 2 pounds. How are you going to do free shipping on $10 for 2 pounds?
This is made of cast iron. God, I wasn't going to do free shipping with $14. Julian, can you drop your?
Yeah, I find stuff all the time. I have to. It's so hard sometimes too, because I'm a junk collector, and it's just in my blood. My grandfather was a hoarder, but he came through the Great Depression and 2 world wars, and so he never threw anything away, and it was always cool junk at my grandpa's place. And my other grandparents were pickers, and I mean back then picking meant you went to the dump, or not even the dump, down old back dirt roads and stuff where people would throw their trash, because we didn't really have a dump close by, and if you did, they it's more of a hassle to go there, and if they want to charge $1 to get rid of your junk, you're like, man, I just go down this dirt logging road over here and kick it out the back of the truck for free.
Yeah.
But we would go dig through that stuff, and we'd find stuff, and once every couple of weeks we'd have a big yard sale at my grandparents' place. So yeah, that kind of stuff runs in my blood. So when I see something cool, it's a good thing we have the ability to look things up in the palm of our hand.
Yeah.
Because I would have this 1.5 acres I have here, just 6 foot deep with a little pig trail running through it.
Yeah, it is amazing. Like we are incredibly, like, the phone is so much information so fast when you're out there at yard, because yard sales they're so competitive nowadays. It's crazy. So you have to be That's why a lot of times on my yard sale videos, you don't see me test anything, ask a lot of questions, or look anything up because I don't have the time.
Right.
Like you don't have time unless it's a huge buy. Like the brother sewing machine. I went back to the car and looked that up. They were staring at me, so I'm not going to sit there on my phone and be like, boop, 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 boop. So you sell it for 400. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, they were asking $75. It was late in the day, and they hadn't sold it. I was like, I'm taking a chance going back to the car for 4 minutes, to see if and they were asking like $75 is a lot of money for me to gamble when I don't know anything about it.
Yeah.
So I went back and it was a really, really good. It was a good pickup. I actually come down to like $40, I think. Was it?
Rachel Strickland's in the house with us tonight. Hey, Rachel, how are you?
So,
but at yard sales, I'm the same way. If it's not real busy or anything, I might quickly look something up.
Sure.
But when I'm at yard sales, I'm running and gunning. I'm looking for low hanging fruit. I know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's got to be cheap for me to gamble on it at a yard sale.
Yep, I agree.
And quite honestly, my strategy in thrift stores is not that different. I'm running and gunning. If I see it, it catches my eye, in the basket it goes. But I'll make my whole loop through there and then go find a quiet corner somewhere and comp it out there.
That's what I was going to just ask. Then you go somewhere and like look everything up and make sure. Yeah, that's smart. I don't do that. That's what you do is way smarter than what I do.
Bam. The Variety Flipper is here with us.
Why, hello.
My crew, they trickle in.
Yeah.
Well, I keep changing nights and time slots. In fact, I am in heads up competition right now with the Nashville Flipper. He does his Monday night draft show with other YouTube resellers and stuff. And start at the same time. So next week, which is why I almost messed up and told you we start at 5 earlier today. But next week I will be starting at 5.
Gotcha.
I'm not competing for the same time slot.
Gotcha. Because I was like, no, I didn't want to. Because you're like, I was like, it's 9, right? And you're like, no, it's 8. And I was thinking, wait a second, I just watched you last week. It was 9. I put on my calendar 9.
Yeah,
but that's not bad. 8's a good time because it's so early where you're at. It's home here,
and it's summertime and 5 o'clock. It's still pretty hot here. So.
Yeah, it is.
It's starting to cool down. It was 91 when we start. Well, it's still 90.
That's still pretty.
That thing hasn't updated, so.
Yeah, that's pretty warm.
It doesn't feel like 90. I don't have the sun beating down directly on my non-insulated garage roof. My garage is a 24 by 24 detached from the house.
That's nice though. 24.
It is. Right now I've got it junked up. I've got a big 20 by 10 storage unit where a lot of this stuff has already been put in there and a lot more is going in there, but some of the stuff that's there is coming back in here. It's just got to come in an organized fashion, not just brought in and piled up.
I was actually going to say that behind you looks fairly clean and organized.
Well, I got the camera angled that way on purpose.
Like you don't want to see what's behind the camera.
The rest of it is pretty bad. I mean, it's not horrible. It's been worse, but yeah. But we touched on fishing. Fishing reels is another thing that one of my favorites, and I know it's one of your favorites. You like the pin, black and gold, made in America, I think, or at least that's the higher end pin fishing reels, the bait casters, and the spinning reels. Mm-hmm. At one time when I still lived in East Texas, I actually made more money repairing fishing reels some weeks than I did working on Rolex watches. Because I lived right between two of the biggest bass fishing lakes in the world, Lake Sam Rayburn and Lake Toledo Bend. And there's no such thing as a weekend where there isn't at least a few bass tournaments on those two lakes. And I was the only guy in the area doing reel repairs. So I had accounts with Pure Fishing, which is who owns Ambassador Garcia, Pfluger, and a couple of others. And I also had an account with Shimano. So I could just call factory direct and order parts. So I love fishing reels. I'm able to, some of them I can bring them back. I also had a pin. I could call pin and order parts, even for the old stuff, because a lot of the old, the main parts that wear out, like on a bait caster, would be the pawl, which is just the little piece that follows a worm gear back and forth and level winds the string onto the reel. Sure. Well, they use the same pawl in the ones from 40 years ago that they make today, for the most part. So I could order 50 of those and it'd fit every reel they made.
Huh.
And I was just going to show people, like, you find these antique reels, man, they are cool. They are fun. They look good. They make great decorations, but they're not worth anything.
Mm-hmm.
So, and most of them are going to have a name. Like this one is a South Bend. During the day, they were very popular. This one is a model. I don't know. It's got a big gob of grease right there, but it's a number 775 bait casting reel. This was, it's pretty typical little bait casting reel. That they're not really worth anything, but they make great decorations. And if they're cheap, I can't leave one behind. I love tinkering on stuff like that. But the pin reels, the older ones, they're starting to make a comeback. There for a while, you couldn't give one away, and now if you can get it clean and it actually works, and this one's got a really bad warped handle on it, but the handle has the blue lucite handle.
Yeah,
I can actually straighten this thing out, and I can polish that blue lucite and make it look brand new. I can't do anything about the chrome because I'm not going to pay that kind of money to get it re-chromed, but I'm pretty sure I can take this handle completely off. I can flatten this thing out, sand it down smooth, and gun blue it, and then put the lucite back on it. It'll look pretty good. Yeah. And that's way too much work for how much this thing will sell for, but it'll look cool.
Yeah, that's right.
But if you can get these things cheap, folks, a couple of bucks, and they work. The little piece right here, it goes side to side, so it doesn't lock up. As long as that works, you pick them up for $2, $3, $4, $5 at the most, and then resell it for $20, $25 plus shipping.
Yep,
so they're pretty good. But the things to look out for are like the Abu Garcia bait casters, the older ones, the 4000 series, the 5000 series, 6 and 7000 series. And some of those, you have two identical Abu Garcias. One of them's a 4500C, the other one's a 4500C3. Not really worth anything, but some of those little reels, if you look on the side of them, they'll have a gear ratio stamped on them or marked on them somehow. And like the little Abu Garcia bait casters, if it has like the 3.8 to 1 gear ratio on it, that's a reel that's very sought after by bass fishermen for throwing crankbaits. Now they also have the high speed ones, which are 7.3 to 1 or something like that. And people who throw a lot of topwater baits want that really fast one. So they're not cranking 100 miles an hour to get their bait back and keep it up on top. So that's the kind of stuff it's the slightest little marking on a fishing reel can make the difference between a $10 reel that's not worth you picking up and a $100 reel that will sell within an hour of listing.
Yeah,
reels. And that's the same with a lot of stuff.
Yeah, reels are very difficult though because I don't know anything about no freshwater fishing. But we find it down here because a lot of people move down here and have freshwater gear. And I was like, that's why I just buy a lot of it, and I'm trying to learn. But like salt water is the same way. Like they can have certain switches on them, certain things on the bottom with their drag, certain things that are worth a whole bunch because it has an L on it or it's a live line or whatever. And it's like, if you don't know exactly what you're looking at when it comes to that, and down here, it's expensive. Like even at yard sales, they remember what they paid for that reel.
Yeah.
So fishing gear is one of the hardest things to find that is reasonably priced at a yard sale.
Yeah.
Like I get excited when I find it. Like I found some the other day and I end up selling them, but I should have kept them because they're just so hard to find when you find a good one. Like it's like I want to keep this because I got
the old Mitchell 300 spinning reels. If those things function and they're in halfway decent shape, always a fast sale.
Yep, I just sold one the other day. I got it at a yard sale for $2. I think I sold it. Actually, I sold it very quickly because it had they had the detachable.
It had to quick fire the trigger for the bell. Yeah.
Yep. So that's all like super, super fast.
Yeah. Now these old pin reels, a lot of times they'll be like the Squidder or they have these fancy little designs and stuff on them. Man, shine those things up, put a little furniture polish or shoe wax or something on them and get them nice and shiny and make that like your main picture. And somebody will see that picture. They don't even fish, but they think that's cool and they'll pay what you want for it.
That's right. Make sure that is your main picture, a good picture of the reel, slightly to the side where you can see that. Make sure it's nice and shiny, some good lighting. Man, that thing is still in a heartbeat. I might go buy it.
And these things are kind of hard to mess up cleaning them. Get a spray bottle with some Windex or something in them, or all-purpose cleaner. Squirt them down, get them good and wet. Just scrub them off with a brush. Get another squirt bottle and rinse them off. Set them in the sun. Let them dry. That little worm gear in the bottom, maybe put a little drop of oil or something on it, and you're good to go. You know,
that's exactly how I clean those reels.
Yeah, I wouldn't dunk them in like a bucket of water and soak them or anything. Mm-hmm. But me personally, since I do the kind of work that I do, I can take every single part of it apart, clean every single part. I can replace the drag washers and the worm gears and everything in them. I know how to do all of that stuff.
Yeah, I don't know.
But if it functions when you get it, a light cleanup will work wonders on it, and you don't have to do all that stuff. Yeah. Just make sure it works before you buy it.
That's right. 100%.
Also, make sure it hadn't been modified like this one has. It's had an extension put on the reel seat. I don't know if my camera's going to picture it, but you can kind of see it right there where somebody's added a extra tab of metal on it.
Did they rivet that on?
Yeah, it's just got a screw run through it, and then it's been riveted and ground down on the backside so they could lengthen it to fit.
Yeah, their rod.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's interesting.
So yeah, you be careful with things like if you see anything that's been modified, it's probably not a good idea.
Yeah, the handle though on that one was for sure.
Yeah, the handle, it's in rough shape though, and I'll clean it up best I can. Maybe I'll part this thing out, or I'll make sure that the handle is very well pictured.
Slightly,
so I sell the whole reel just to get rid of it, and you make that handle the focal point. You know,
That's right. Don't look at the rest of the reel; just look at the handle. It's very pretty.
Mary Garcia has joined us. How you tonight, Mary? But let's see. We have talked about fishing reels. We've talked about golf clubs. We've talked about tools. What's in your future, brother?
Man, future.
Are you looking for, or do you own, or do you rent, or you looking to move into a bigger house?
No. We I lived in the same house here for 10 years, 11 years, and we like where we live. We don't have any. We were thinking about moving further out and buying a bigger house and having land and all that stuff. And we really like the beach. And so, but once you leave, I would not be coming back because prices have raised so high where I live is that you're not coming back. Like I'm not spending $400,000 on this house that I bought 10 years ago. I'm going to tell you what I paid for. It's just embarrassing that they were selling.
We just bought ours 4 years ago and I couldn't buy it again today.
So, so if I leave where I live, I'm not coming back. I'll be out in the country somewhere. And I was like, we're not doing it. We like where we live. So this is, and it's not that much to pay off. Like we don't, you know what I'm saying? We don't have a whole bunch on it. So we're definitely staying here. We don't really know. There's a million ways you can go when it comes to this. I mean, we, in the state of South Carolina, we need I don't know if a lot of other people know this, but you need an auction license to do any type of online auctions. That includes
Really?
Yeah, 100%. That's why we're not on Whatnot anymore.
Yeah.
We did two shows. You're allowed actually.
How does that affect eBay? Can you do like buy it nows but not auctions, or
when it says it's a close? If a computer is calling the bid, you don't need one. If a human is calling the bid, you need one.
Okay, gotcha.
That's where the big difference is.
Yeah, I know auctioning in Texas and in Colorado. That's a big deal.
Yeah, and it
you
is.
Don't dare try to run your own auction and not have that auctioneer's license.
Yeah, so we are. I'm thinking about getting my auctioneer's license because we have another business like the LLC over us. You know, we have the S4 whatever. That actually also needs a license. It needs an auctions license, and then they hire me to be the auctioneer, like of my own business. So that whole thing is like. So we got out of Whatnot. We did 2 Whatnots. You're allowed actually 1 auction in South Carolina. We researched it really well. We said goodbye. We'll be back when we have an auctioneer's license. And Whatnot sent us an email and said, "Yeah, we don't have your back. Like, if you get in trouble in South Carolina, hands are up. Yeah. We don't care." Like, so
I know a lot of people are doing really well with Whatnot. I jumped in on it as a buyer, and I didn't have a good experience. And talking with their customer service was difficult at best. and didn't offer to help me when I had a seller do a bait and switch on me. Uh, so and they've reached out to me in the last couple of months. They want me to come on board and be
Sure.
a seller, and I was like, I would have to source differently, and sourcing for me it's an ever evolving, ever changing thing. There's not enough of any one type of thing for me to find that I could be a whatnot seller or even an eBay seller in a single niche. It just, I can't do it. It would be all right for 20 something years. I did it for selling old watches for a little extra money, especially around the holiday time. But over the last 3.5, 4 years, it's become my main source of income. But I couldn't do that if I was niched down, because I just don't have the sourcing opportunities here as other people may have.
Yeah. We liked Whatnot. Our two were pretty, I mean, we did 50, we sold like 100 things. And then we were also selling them fairly cheap. And it was cool because it was more like a live. We got to talk to people that was from our YouTube channel and stuff. So it was good to have, we were just chatting back and forth to people in the thing and selling some stuff. So, but you could definitely, I mean, it's a cool platform. I like it. If I get my auctioneer's license, you'll probably see me back on there. But we could also go bigger. Like we could start buying estates and then doing our own, like on.
That was the category they wanted me in, was estate.
Yeah, that's what we were into. So we don't really know our future right now. We are trucking along. eBay's been cranking like crazy. So we've been doing good with that. But with two people, we have the ability to and YouTube's been doing pretty good for us. So we're happy about that. Content is way up here. So we do a lot of things to get content. Like that is one of the things that drive us.
That's one of my next things after this year, somewhere next year, start making more content. I was going to try. I had it on my plate for this year, but half of this year is already over. And I haven't gotten 10% of what I really want to get done this year done. I'm so busy sourcing and listing that it doesn't leave a whole lot of time for me to do other things. And with my day job, so to speak, taking the middle chunk out of my day every day, and I'm one of those one-track mind guys. When I get started on something, I don't like being interfered with. I don't like to stop until I'm done. I get focused on something and I stick to it till I'm done. And if I get interrupted, it's hard for me to go back and pick up where I left off. I don't know. It's just crazy for me. So little by little, I'm going to get myself straightened out, lined out, and because I'm pretty good about my discipline. If I get up in the morning, I do this, and this, and as long as nothing interrupts that, I'm good to go.
Mm-hmm.
So the biggest interruption, the biggest holdback on me right now is my day job. And I'm not going to quit. I'm just going to stop being accessible by the public. I already have a workbench set up here. Nice. I just need to get the rest of all of my tools and parts organized and in one spot, and then I can just go in once a week, pick up a few jobs, bring them home, and work on them here.
Yeah, absolutely. But you're right.
By the way, Mama with a Camera, Lori came in earlier, and I've been trying to catch a lull in the conversation so I could give her a shout out.
Mary says she loves Whatnot. I'm not gonna lie, I like it too. I bought some stuff on there.
Until that one buyer messed me over. Yeah. It was dangerous. I get on there. I'm just going to buy a couple of VHS tapes here and there. Yeah. Next thing I know, I've spent $300 on VHS tapes. And
yeah, it is. It's a fun, like I said, but we just got to get it. It takes it's so hard here though. It's really a pain in the butt because it takes 80 hours of classroom and they don't have one near me. So I'd have to go to Greenville and spend 10 days in a hotel, which means that I have to have 10 days. I would have to have, probably 10 to 15 videos prior to me going out there already on YouTube ready to be uploaded. Yeah. So it would be
instead of, I'm kind of spoiled because I already have one, but that's where you need to beg, borrow, steal an RV or a camper or something and go find a campground to stay in. That'd be a lot cheaper than a hotel.
Yeah, 100%.
Bring your own food with you so you wouldn't have to be ordering delivery or going to restaurants every night. And
Collins on the Move, they have one online class. It's already full, and they only have one a year. Whew. Kat somehow got into she immediately, I'll tell you what, she'd go get her. She was like, boom, in that class and in Greenville, because I think Florida has the same law, or it's very close to it, because she took her class in South Carolina, where I would go take my class, because it's the only place that they have like the board, because it has to be board certified. So you can't even like, it has to be a certain board certified, but their board certification people only run 2 classes, 3 classes a year. So the whole thing is, don't get me started on the government. The whole thing's a mess.
My eBay messages are getting blown up. A guy bought a watch from me last week and shipped it out, and over the weekend it showed delivered, but he didn't get it. And I look it up this morning after he told me he didn't get it again. And I look it up and it says picked up by individual at the post office. And it's like, man, something going on funny here.
Really?
Yeah. And it's not it's like a $75 to $100 watch.
Yeah, it's still $75.
Yeah, I know. It's, that $75 is in my pocket now, and it's going to stay there.
That's right. That is right. Interesting.
Gas ain't cheap.
No.
And that mortgage bill, it comes every month.
Every month. They don't miss a month. I'll tell you that. No.
Yeah, I don't get to use the excuse that I didn't get the bill, so I don't have to pay it. So
yeah, well, that wasn't certified mail. I didn't even see that thing.
Yeah. As long as Rachel, you're right. As long as your tracking number says it was delivered, you're good to go. But I want to look over here right quick. You know what? In my reel that I put out on Instagram today, I told people I was making some big sales and I'd share it with them. I didn't, I clickbaited them, teased them, like, you got to show up to the show tonight to find out what I'm listing or what I'm selling. Because I made some pretty good sales today, and most of it was stuff I listed this morning. And this stuff, some of it was selling as fast as I listed it.
Nice.
But let's see what this guy has to say. He's already sent me 2 since in the last 5 minutes. Oh yeah. He's going to the post office tomorrow to raise cane. So I hope he gets that figured out, because it's a pretty nice watch.
I hope he gets it too.
I'll tend to him later. That's personal business. But I'll show you folks what I did sell today. Now, folks, it is watch parts. If you guessed that, you guessed right. But it's not all watch stuff. I sold something else too. So we'll come over here and I'll let me get this all orders and hit that button. Share screen. It should give me a seller hub. I think that's it. That's it. All right. So the orders that came in this morning was, I had a VCR, Sony VCR. Man, Sony Electronics always look them up. Because I sold a VCR, not a combo, just a regular run-of-the-mill VCR. I had the remote control with it, and I always add a set of cables and a blank VHS tape, because I stockpile those from the bins for pennies, and they help sell. And the rest of it was Rolex stuff. I sold a Rolex part for $225, a Rolex dial for $100. Now that dial is actually not 100% authentic. In fact, it's only about 40% authentic, but I made sure to put that in the description and everything. Not original, custom, not genuine. But it'll fit your Rolex watch. I had to get rid of it. It's leftover from a job that I did for somebody where I took it off their watch and put a real one on. And I sold a Rolex Movement, just a broke down piece of junk Movement for a lady's Rolex from the 60s. And I sold it for $400. So, $800 and some odd dollars worth of sales today. Most of it watch parts. Now, folks, I'm not telling you to go out there and buy a bunch of watch parts up. I own hundreds of thousands of watch parts. Less than 10% of them are of that quality or of that value. Most of them are worth $1 or $2 or less. So if you run across watch parts out there, you might want to hit me up on Instagram before you buy it. So,
or you'll be like me and have a whole bunch of worth.
Yeah. Julie, man, how many times did I get onto you about buying watches in your videos?
A lot. You're like, that's junk. And I'm like, listen, I know now. I didn't know when I bought it.
You paid for your education, even
I
though you could have got it for
learned that
free.
day. But you're right. Yeah, I learned real quick that guess what? All watches aren't expensive.
Yeah,
Even if
just
they look
because it's
expensive.
old, your watches are like anything else. Just because it's old doesn't mean it's valuable.
That's
Just
true.
because it's rare doesn't mean it's valuable.
I learned that many times. Now I look at a watch and go,
There's only one thing that an item needs to be valuable, and that's desirability. People have to want it. If they don't want it, it doesn't matter how old it is, how cool it is, how rare it is. If nobody wants it, it's not worth anything.
that's right. That is right. 100%.
Oh, we're getting pretty close to our hour.
Yeah, that was the fastest hour of my life, I think. That was really
Well, we're talking about stuff we like.
Mary said, "What state am I in?" Yes, I'm in South Carolina. South Carolina.
How far are you from the Marine Corps base out there?
2.5 hours.
2.5 hours, yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's Paris Island's like, I think that's near Hilton Head, really close to Hilton Head, somewhere around there. So I'm like way up in the corner. I'm actually not very close to North Carolina, but I'm way closer to North Carolina than I am to Georgia.
Right.
So I
used to live in Jacksonville, North Carolina.
Jacksonville, North Carolina.
Which is Camp Lejeune, the next Marine Corps base up.
Yep. I was looking at a car up there actually on the Facebook the other day. It's not that far of a drive.
And there's some pretty nice areas up there too. I used to do a lot of the beaches up there are a lot of fun. You can find fossil shark's teeth and stuff on the beach. You just got to be careful on the beach out there, because if you go past a certain point, you're within range of their live fire stuff. The beach out there is Onslow Beach, and you have to actually go on base to get to the beach. But they have this big sign. Do not go past that sign.
Yeah, no.
Because you're either going to get tackled by some big burly Marine, or you're going to get blown up.
Yeah,
neither one of them are good things.
Yeah, neither one of them's going to feel good, but yeah.
Hey, Variety Flipper, he was class 86 coming out of Paris Island.
Hey, thank you for your service, good sir.
Thank you for your service.
You too, by the way. Thank you for your service.
My youngest brother was a Marine, and he went through Paris Island, and I'm Navy. And while he was in boot camp, I sent him letters almost daily, all of them on Navy stationery envelopes and stuff. And I put all the vernacular that we used to pick on the Marine Corps guys all over the envelopes I'd send him. And
that's funny.
He caught a little flack over that.
That is funny.
Let's see if I can look over my notes. Hey, guys, just in case you want to follow Kayla, she's known as the Southern Pearl Thrifter on Instagram. Yep. And she's really good with you out there on that. You find stuff and you're all excited about it. She gets excited with you. She doesn't know why, but she's still excited for you. It's
like, yeah, that's great. What is it? And I was like, I don't know. Let's do it. I'll tell you what, though, it is. Because I used to do YouTube without her, and then she was able to go every Saturday. It is so much easier having two people on videos. That is it is so hard. Like when she can't go, like this weekend, she has something to do. And then the following weekend, I called Dad, you got to come yard selling with me because I need a second person. Because one human yard selling is so hard because you have to really talk to yourself, which you're talking to the camera. But when you have two people, I just thought now you
don't got nobody giving you weird looks when you two people say, but one person by themselves talking. That's
one person by yourself just chit-chatting away. They're like, sir, you need to leave. Especially the way I look. They're like,
it's like, hey, buddy, you're making people nervous. You
want really nervous. Why do you have a jacket on? I mean, you have a little side thing on. You got camera. You're talking. It's just the two people. Two people is the trick. That is a huge trick.
I don't know if I said earlier that I have a one-track mind. I focus. I really I zero in on stuff and I focus. When I'm doing something, that's what I'm doing. I don't walk and chew bubble gum at the same time. So for me, when I do start making content, pre-recorded content, it's going to be here in my shop, cleaning, testing, listing, that kind of stuff. and hauls, and when I'm out and about, it's going to be the it's going to be done at the truck when I get done.
Mm-hmm.
Because I can't, like I said, I can't one or the other is going to suffer if I try to do both at the same time.
Yeah,
And
it's very deliberate. Like
Yeah.
it has to be a deliberate talking of what you're looking at, because
right,
you won't do like a normal human doesn't just pick up something and say, "Oh, this is a blah 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 blah." You don't
well,
do
I
that. You
kind
do
of
that
do
when
that.
you're like grocery shopping. Like, hey, this is a loaf of bread and it's got 32 slices in it. And I'm going to buy it for
Yeah,
$8.99. You don't do
yeah.
that.
I'm
So
not that bad, but I will. I kind of talk to myself when I'm out picking or doing anything. Sometimes
just
I
talk
need
louder,
expert
man.
advice.
Yeah, put you a little microphone. Microphones work real good. Put
Right.
your little microphone real close to you and just talk.
Yeah.
Oh, people love it. They'll be like,
Well,
look,
I don't talk to myself. I talk to the item like, oh, hello, beautiful, and pick it up.
man,
And
how are
what
you
are
doing?
you? And
What's your name? That'll work too. Just anything
but
that
talking to an audience that's not there and try to tell them what I'm doing while I'm doing it, I don't know that I could do it. I mean, there's one way to find out.
yeah, well, I find it's very deliberate though. You have to always be like, well, we do again. YouTube is now growing into one of our major things that we do. So
Right.
it is like a very deliberate, and also you don't move as fast. You can't move as fast when you're
Right.
recording. Like there ain't no run into yard sale. Like if you're at a yard sale, you have to move kind of slow because the camera's got to catch up to you. We use the
Right.
GoPro, whatever the highest end GoPro there is. It doesn't matter. That thing still will shake and move, and like any type of fast movement with your body, you throw that stuff out because that messes with people's eyes when they watch it. So it's
Somebody likes it when you make Kayla smell the shoes.
she stopped doing that. Back in the day, she'd be like, yes. Now she's like, I ain't smelling them shoes. I was like, what?
You ended up getting an ozone machine, didn't you?
I hotwired. Did you? No, I don't think I put that out there. Maybe I did.
No, I think you put it in a video.
Yeah, I had a hotwire because the stupid timer wouldn't work. Now the thing runs no matter what.
Yeah, no, I just saw when you got it and the first time you used it.
It broke. Everybody's like, oh, it did work well. And then I really looked up ozone. You don't want to be like smelling that stuff.
No.
So then I'm putting it in, to do the thing. And I turn and the stupid knob breaks. So I was like, this is dumb. I just paid like $80 for this thing. So then I jumped the circuit. So now it runs constantly. So it's a real pain. But it does work. I will tell you that there is it. If I heard that it will destroy like some plastics and some other fabrics and stuff like that. So just do your research, but it will get the smell. So far, we haven't met a smell we can't beat with that machine.
Right.
Like
normally, if I don't have that great of a smeller, but if it's bad enough that I can smell it, I'm leaving it.
Yeah. And we still do the same. We had a huge Harley haul that never hit YouTube, and that stuff had a very.
That was the stuff that smelled like smoke so bad.
Mm-hmm.
I remember you saying something about it.
And we have been selling. We did it, and the stuff never sold. But just recently, we sold like 2 pants. The FXRG Harley gear is like their highest end gear. Their leather pants used, each one of them sold for $275. Then we had 2 jackets sell for over $175 and $185 we just sold. So that stuff is clearing out. Luckily, because I guess it's riding season, and most of it sold overseas.
Huh. Well, that makes sense because that's the only access to this kind of stuff they have. Mm-hmm. Every time I find Harley stuff, people think it's worth a fortune or they've looked it up on eBay, and nothing worse than walking in and they've actually got an eBay printout taped right there beside it. I was in the Restore, Habitat for Humanity Restore today. I stop in there because, that's a tool story I need to tell you. But they had a black diamond copy of Dumbo, $150, very rare. I'm like, oh Lord, no. Super rare. You guys are looking stuff up on eBay now, and sure enough, everything in there has got eBay prices on it anymore. And I tried to tell them, look, that stuff is fake. Those are not real comps that you're looking at. I said, I'll go to the house right now and get you 2 copies of Dumbo that are in better condition and sell you both copies for $1.
Yeah, no, actually, if you're selling for $150, I'll sell them to you for $50. You get the best gear ever.
The best find I ever made there was it was a mechanics tool, and it's a ridge reamer for when you're rebuilding the engine before you can take the piston out the top.
Sure.
Most engines have that little ridge that forms in there, and this was a vintage one. It had to be from the late 40s, early 50s. And I actually sold it to a celebrity. If you ever watched that car show called Phantom Works, the guy out of Norfolk, Virginia?
Is that on Netflix?
No, it was on Discovery.
Really? No, I don't think.
Or maybe it was on Motor Trends or something. But he had a pretty popular show called Phantom Works. And anyway, I ended up selling that to him, and I don't remember how much it sold for, a couple $100. So old tools like that. Now, old mechanics tools are worth a lot of money, and my favorite old tools to find are the old aviation mechanics tools.
Never found any.
I find it every great once in a while, a piece or two here. The last time I found something, it was a valve grinding jig tool, think of a job, and it was missing parts, and I think I sold it for like $700.
Dang. See, I don't know. I would look at it and probably buy it because it looked neat, and then I would have to come home and research it because I don't think I've ever even. I'm sure that I don't know. Actually, I don't even know. We live very close to an airport, so I would think that.
Well, believe it or not, back in the day, back mid-century, there were little airfields everywhere, and there was aviation mechanic somewhere in the area.
Yeah, it's true.
And things got bigger, and those little small aviation guys, they got left behind because you had to be certified in FFA this and that. So those guys in their little shops and stuff, their stuff had to go somewhere, and there are still people out there that work on that old stuff, and they need them old tools.
Yeah, actually, I didn't realize how much. You're exactly right. How many airfields? Because to get a drone license to do commercial drone stuff, you have to know all that stuff. And I have a drone. I went and got my drone license. And how many small airfields are around your area where it's like restricted? And I was like, this is the stupidest thing ever. There's so many. There was one down the street we didn't even know about. It's like some small little strip that little planes land on, and it's like there's once you get one. I don't even remember the name of the map I'm talking about, but you know the name, right? Or where it has like the airspace on it.
Oh no, I don't know that one.
It was on the test, and you had to like learn how to read it and stuff. There is a lot of airspace that is restricted, or the military runs drills in it, and you have to call like, hey.
Right. I have a lot of that kind of stuff around me.
Cool.
I'm surprised, in fact, during this live that we didn't have to pause because I live right in the landing zone of my local airport, which is only a couple of miles over my shoulder here, and their landing approach is right over the top of my house.
Wow,
But we also have a little Air Force field just over the mountains in the next town over the mountains, the Cascade Mountains, where they have the only airstrip that was long enough to land the space shuttle if it overshot its first landing.
Really?
They would have to, if they overshot Florida or Houston, wherever they would land those things, they would have to fly all the way to Oregon. And if they didn't line up perfectly on the Oregon airstrip in Klamath Falls, Oregon, they would have to ditch it in the Pacific. That never happened either way. They never had to land one here, and they never had to ditch one. But it was the only one available. But and as far as the planes fly, I'm not very far from Area 51, where they do a lot of aircraft testing. And one of the places in Eastern Oregon, they call it the Oregon Outback because it looks just like the deserts of Outback, Australia. But they did a lot of their training in that area. And some nights when we're out there at the mines, they'd be out there doing their mock dog. There's an airplane. Speak it and they will come. But anyway, these guys would be out there doing their mock battles, dogfights and stuff, dropping flares everywhere. It's like, do they not know how dry this place is and how easy it'll all go up in flames? But some of that was pretty cool.
Yeah, Myrtle Beach used to be the Air Force base. There's an Air Force base there, and they still run drills. And we get to hear some good sonic booms once in a while. There's always aircraft in the area. We got to see the balloon get popped right above the house. It landed very close to our shore, so that was pretty neat. We got to see those jets in action. But I like it. It's so cool because in the summertime they're usually doing some sort of training or something. The Air Force is, and it's cool. Have you ever
Now,
seen
I don't know where the planes are coming from, but the Navy planes, especially their bigger ones, like the big passenger planes or mission planes, not battle planes, uh, you have to do so many flight ops in order to get your flight pay. And part of your flight ops are called touch and goes.
Mm-hmm.
You have to do 15 touch and goes every month to get your flight pay. So wherever these guys are taking off from, they have to fly for so many hours, and then they have to do so many touch and goes. But they will come in here and circle my town all day long doing touch and goes.
And them things are loud.
They are very loud. But Chrissy, no, I've seen UFOs in the most basic sense of the term, as it was a flying object and I couldn't identify it. I've never seen anything that I thought was a space alien craft, though. Not saying they don't exist. I'm just saying I've never seen them.
Yeah, a lot of training ops look a little funny. A lot of training ops, especially over the water. You're like, what is that out there? So it's neat. I like watching the. My college roommate was a no, I don't know if he still is. No, I think he works commercial now. He was a Marine pilot for a while. So
I got to see and meet the Blue Angels when I was a little kid. In fact, it was 1976.
Really, they're cool.
Yeah, that 1976 was a great. When I was a little kid, July the 4th would come, which is very, very close to my birthday. And as a little kid, man, I thought all the fireworks and stuff were for me. And I got to see the Spirit Train, which was the old school train that they painted up red, white, and blue like the flag and took it all over the country. And same year, I got to see the Blue Angels. They were all over the place. And my dad was in the Navy, and we worked at a naval air base in China Lake, California. So those guys did a lot of training in and around that area. So I got to see them train, got to see them put on shows out there. And
that's cool.
My dad was an aviational bosun mate. So I got to meet some of those guys when I was a little kid.
Very cool.
Yeah, I always thought it was. You'd think that I'd have gotten more involved with the aviation thing, but I just never did.
Yeah, it's I flew a plane one time. It's about I flew a Cessna. The 2 touch and goes. Ooh, it was fun. I would like to get a pilot's license, but I don't. Who's got the time for that?
Yeah, I got to steer an aircraft carrier one time when I was a little kid.
That's legit.
They had this big wheel set up, and you would just go. And they call it a Tiger Cruise, where you bring on all your family and go out into the ocean for a day and come back. And one of the activities was you got to go up here on the bridge and take a picture holding the wheel. And,
yeah.
My little brother grabbed that wheel. He turned around and grinned, and he spun it.
Hold on, everybody. We're taking a right-hand turn.
I don't think that thing was actually attached to anything, but they did turn the ship right about then and make him think it was him doing it. And yeah, he ate that up. It was pretty cool.
No, I wish I still flew. That was actually back in high school. I was at I went to this honor camp or something where it was like aeronautic, and I was there for like 2 months, I think. And one of our thing was we got to fly planes, and it was actually in it was like Embry-Riddle. It was Embry-Riddle in Florida. I think that's the university. I don't know if it's still there. That was a long time ago. And so we did a lot of like in classroom stuff, like simulators, and then they like literally it was the wildest thing. Like you get in these little Cessnas, 2 people, and they're like, okay, you know how to do this. I'm like, dude, I'm like 16. I was like, you know how to do what? Fly the plane? They're like, yeah, well, you know all the controls. And they did. They would let you now. Again, like the guy had the controls where he could save you if something went wrong. Right. We didn't cut the plane off or do any type of like weird stuff, but we like had the ability to maneuver it, and we took off. We did a touch and go. I think we did 2 touch and goes, and I got a couple pictures of it. It was a neat little camp. Like I'll tell you, it was pretty cool.
If I ever got into flying planes, I would want to be a bush pilot up in Alaska.
I've watched TV shows on that. Is scary.
Flying in, landing on a sandbar or a gravel bar in an uncharted river somewhere, or flying supplies into these little villages and stuff. And I don't know, if I was going to fly, that's what I would want to do.
It's wild. Yeah, it takes a lot of skill. It is wild. 100%. Yeah. Do you take a plane to St. Augustine? I like St. Augustine. I've never been on a helicopter.
That's something I've never been on as a helicopter. I was in the Navy. I was around a lot of helicopters. I just never had the opportunity to get on one.
They do helicopters right here for $20. I think that's a lie. It's up in Myrtle Beach.
You ever seen the sky cranes, the big funky looking helicopters that have like no middle? They just got a big. They make those things right here in Medford.
Really, I didn't know
that. They ship them all over the world, and the only plane big enough to fit one of those things in, so they could ship it, is this Russian jumbo jet. So a few times a year, they'll fly one of those Russian jumbo jets in here to pick one of them up and go deliver it somewhere in the world.
That's wild.
If you ever watched one of those Discovery shows where they're picking the mammoths up out of the Arctic ice in Siberia somewhere, they used one of their helicopters there.
That is neat. It's amazing what those things can do. You would think they would just fall out of the sky. They're so big.
Yeah. Oh, they're freaking huge. I mean, I see them all the time. I didn't realize how high up in the air they were, but I had to go a few years ago and take a welding test because I was going to quit my job and go back to welding. And it was at one of the places close to where they build those things. And the next yard over with a fence between us, they had one of them out in the yard, and those things are freaking huge. The wheels on the bottom of them are probably 4 foot tall or taller. So there's a guy standing beside this wheel, and he's like, even with, he's not much more than head taller than the wheel on the thing. It's like, dang, I didn't know they were that big.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, it's amazing what they can do.
I mean, even the military plane helicopters, they don't have, their wheels about as big, a little bit bigger around than maybe a 55-gallon drum. And I had to get underway one time on a helicarrier to finish out a job. And then we had to get on they were going to fly us off, but we ended up getting put on a small boat and run back to shore because we were close enough. But they were doing touch and goes with the helicopters. And one of them come in, did too hard of a touch and go. He didn't time the waves right. Anyway, it knocked one of those wheels off, and it went rolling down the flight deck, probably 50, 60 miles an hour.
Oh, my goodness.
And this Marine says, "I'll get it." And he tackled it.
How'd that work out?
It did not work out good for him. Whoppity, whoppity, whoppity. And they had to call stretcher bearers away. And people were just, this guy's beat up, broke up. He's in rough shape, but everybody's just laughing so hard. And I'm just standing there wide-eyed. I couldn't have been more than about 19 years old. And I'll get it. He tackled it.
I like his determination.
Oh, Ping is here tonight. Hey, Ping, how are you? Ping, you look running a little bit late tonight. We're getting on towards the end of the show. We're actually over about 15, 20 minutes.
It's been so fun, though.
It has been. We'll have to do this again. Speaking of that, guys, if you know somebody that you'd like to see as a guest on the show, now I know I'm not a big show or anything, but we have fun here, and being a smaller show, we can slow down a little bit, have a little more fun. So if you know anybody, drop me some suggestions down in the comments on the video, or hit me up on Instagram, or have whoever you think it is hit me up, and we'll get some more special guests on the show. And hopefully we can have Julian back on again sometimes, and maybe even have Kayla join you.
Anytime. We're actually on Cat Show tomorrow. We haven't done a live in like 7 months. 6 months, something like that.
I know it's been a while.
So we're getting back into it. We can breathe a little bit now because we're getting things in place where it's like, we got a little bit more time at night. So I'll probably be on the YouTubes a little bit more on lives.
Well, it'll be good to see you back again. I know you put out a ton of videos, but I like interacting with people. So
yeah, the lives are fun because you can actually like talk. Like I like putting out content, but lives are always fun because you get to like answer questions and there's so many questions that come about on both of those channels that I have, and it's impossible to answer them in a pre-recorded setting.
Right.
Like you can't do it. Like the only way to do it is to sit down, have a live, and then have people come in and ask you questions.
Right.
Because it would take an hour long pre-recorded with reading the question and stuff, and that's just virtually impossible. So But no, I like lives. We just haven't been doing them. We want to do one on our own show. I mean, on our own channel on the Flip Squad. We just haven't picked a date, and we would like to do it like at least twice a month.
Right. Well, I'm
Like
going to tell you, brother, it is hard to schedule one
I bet.
that where there's not already a good one scheduled.
Mm-hmm.
Like right now, the Nashville Flipper, I somehow that one slipped my mind, and that's a very popular show where they do the Monday night drafts. Paul, the Philly Flipper, he's on a lot of them. You got Ray from Nashville Flippers doing a lot of them, and he brings guests, a bunch of guests in, and they play a game of who, they. Well, if you haven't seen it yet, you guys should check it out. But do that next week because you're on my show this week.
Yeah.
But next week I will be starting at 5, and they start their Monday night drafts at 6. So, and I try to keep it somewhere in the area of an hour.
Right.
So hopefully that'll work out for people who can come watch me and not miss Nashville.
Yeah, and there's a lot there. You're right. There's a lot of people that are live, and it's one of those things. It's like it's tough. It's tough to get the intervals,
Right.
Like so, it's just me and her will pick a day and then go with it. But then it's so hard to pick a day and then stick to it because something might come up because we also do storage units. In the wintertime we're storage unit people, so it's like. You might not.
Kayla's very involved with some programs that she does that have nothing to do with like she's doing something with dinosaurs. I don't.
Yeah.
Is it a church thing or?
Yeah, we do. We're very involved. Her dad's actually the preacher of the church that we go to, and cool. So we're involved with that. And things pop up. So if something pops up on Thursday, so it's that's why we haven't really done it because it is definitely but we want to do it because it is so important because that channel we put out content on the Flip Squad but it's very hard for us to keep up with the comments. Now the big channel, I'm on the ball with the comments. It's very seldom that a comment slips by me. If I might not actually type back to it, but I definitely 100% read it. And
I know that you've read every single over the years. You've always responded to everything I've ever commented on.
Yeah, I'm pretty good at the big channel. The little channel is on a different it's on a different screen. Like it's not what I had to do was link them, and I should have linked them better. I didn't know how to do that back in the day. So I don't get those notifications when I get a comment on that channel, and then I'll like forget about it for like 2 days, and then I'll go in and try to get, but by that time it's tough. So that's why we're going to go live so we can like say, hey, we really are reading your comments. I read all of them on both the channels, but that one I have major trouble typing back to people. It's just so live is the best way. I like lives.
Yeah,
they're great. That was a very long explanation of what I just gave you why I like lives.
Hey, that's all right.
Super long-winded when it came to that.
That's another good reason for a live, though, is you can get away with doing something like that. When you're trying to build a pre-recorded content, you can't. You got to keep things like that. You got a window. You got to stay in it. Live show, we get a little more freedom to do and say things.
If I was just editing myself, 98% of that wouldn't have got in.
Exactly. And that's editing is the one thing that keeps me from doing pre-recorded because I can't edit.
No, the easiest. I know everybody has their own editing software that they like. I'm telling you, I am horrible at the online stuff. I'm not very good at computers. Filmora, and I do it like the old school way. Like I don't send stuff to the computer. I use like SD cards.
Right.
I put them in here and they go straight into my Filmora. Like I click on Filmora and they will upload from that SD card and I just pick them, like the videos that I want. Now it's not like I'm saying like this is super easy. It takes time. That's what it takes. Right. So, but the actual like editing process on Filmora is so easy. It is like you don't like this part, so you clip it and then you shove it over and then it disappears and you move this part over. And then if you want a word, and I don't personally think that this is just my personal opinion. I don't think that thrifting videos have to be over edited.
Right.
Because you don't want too much flash. Like you're picking stuff up. I don't, and you have to also look when you get into YouTube, look at who's watching your videos.
Right.
Your demographic of human and age and who that is. I have very little young humans watching my videos. Right. So that's where the people have like you don't need a whole bunch of flash. So that's why editing is so easy. You can pop up a soul comp there
I
easy.
would definitely prefer easy
It
over
is.
anything else. Because every time I've tried to learn editing, just as I would start figuring a few things out, like being able to take this clip and add it to this clip, merge the two to make one continuous clip, I would get an update for my program, whatever I was trying to use. Everything that I had just learned was now obsolete, and I had to start over. And it would just drive me nuts. The next thing I know, I'd have 57 files, all of the same stuff. And it's like, how did that happen? And it would just drive me nuts. And I threw my hands in the air and quit.
Phil Morrissey, they'll do updates, but they never change their basic. Their basic is always the same. And now I do pay for the editing software, but it's well worth it because it is very user friendly. Like, I am horrible. Like Mary said, she edits on her phone. My hat's off to you, because that is my thumbs. I can't do it.
Yeah.
I'm hitting buttons. This thing's next thing. I can't do it. So my hat's off to anybody that edits on a phone.
I don't do the thumbs. I hold it in one hand and I peck at it with my finger.
I'm like thumb warming myself. It just doesn't work out. So anybody that does it on a phone is man, that to me is very difficult.
Doesn't Kevin Commonwealth? He does all his editing on his iPhone, doesn't he? That's what I've heard, and I think he's alluded to it for a few. I've never asked him directly.
I actually don't know how he edits. I think Kat does all hers on her phone. I don't know a whole bunch of other YouTubers. I know it sounds weird, but I don't know a whole bunch of other YouTubers that well that do. But like, I'm like old school. Like, I have a mouse. I never use, like, I have a very nice iMac or something. Has a nice little screen thing here. You move your can't handle that. I'm a mouse guy. First thing I did was buy the most expensive mouse ever. Yeah. Who can, like, when you edit, the mouse that's your friend. Like, I can't do it on there. You hit the button but the mouse is.
I used to do a lot of videos on Facebook when they first started allowing us to do, but I was one take wonder. If I didn't get it in one take, I'd do it in 15 takes till I got what I wanted, and whichever take was what I wanted, that's what got posted.
Yeah, and sometimes, I get that. And sometimes that's the best takes anyways. And
sometimes I couldn't get the take I wanted, and I just good enough.
Yep.
Put it up. And those a lot of times turn out to be my best videos, because people would see me. I call it, you see me, you get me, warts and all. If I screw up, and you get to see it.
Yeah, and that's really what it is that I watch a lot of non-reselling YouTubers, and none of them are highly edited. None of them are doing a lot of takes. All of them are just normal humans that do stuff. Like, I watch a lot of racing stuff and car working on stuff and stuff. And none of them are like,
hey, do you watch Puddin's Fab Shop?
No, but I'm going to watch it now.
Man, you got to look up Puddin's Fab. He is one of the most entertaining, down-to-earth, fun car builders.
Oh, 100%.
And he's not building like Camaros and stuff. He's building like old Datsun mini trucks and U-Haul trucks, turning them into something cool, putting custom-made air ride stuff on it. But he's a lot of fun to watch, and he's very down-to-earth. But Puddin's Fab Shop, and he has a second channel also where the small projects he puts on there. But in fact, I was watching one before the show started. I got to finish it after we finish this.
I can't wait to watch him now, because that is the majority of what I watch. Because I don't watch a whole bunch of reselling stuff, because I do it all day long. Like, it's all I do.
I've gotten to be the same way.
Yeah, so it's like 12 hours you're doing reselling, and a lot of it isn't. I don't watch it. So I watch a lot of car stuff. Like, I like building cars. I haven't only built like one. Like, I wouldn't say I built it. I kind of like took it apart and slightly put it back together.
Right. Gulf Coast Pickers has joined us. He's been having trouble being able to join live chats on a lot of channels lately.
Really?
Yeah. And a lot of times he thought he was being blocked from a lot of channels, but he's not on anybody's blocked list. It's something to do with his computer. So I'm glad to see he was able to come in here tonight.
Yeah. But yeah, it's I'm gonna look at Puddin's Fab Shop.
Puddin's Fab Shop, man. It's
I can't believe it's never come up with my screen.
One of us just froze for a second. Let
We're
me
back.
get rid of this, and I will show you because I already have one of his videos pulled up. Let's see. This way you'll be able to see it.
Yeah, maybe I have seen it. I don't know. I would know that name.
But that's him. He's in a junkyard, but this is what his logo looks like. And
All
I'll
right.
just go ahead and pull that up so you can see. There we go. Puddin's Fab Shop.
I would definitely
Probably one of my favorite non-reseller content channels to watch.
I will 100% because that's one thing that I watch a ton of.
I'll go ahead and drop his link in the chat. And we'll go ahead and drop that down. But there you go. There's one of my all-time favorite non-reseller channels to watch. He's a barrel of laughs. He puts out 2 videos a week.
Oh, good.
One on Monday on his main channel, and then another one somewhere during the week on his second channel.
Good stuff. Yeah, I always like to find new because you have I have regular YouTubers that I watch, but again, some of them only put out maybe one a week, and it's like, well, what am I going to do the rest? That's why I'm a big fan of putting out a lot of content on YouTube, because I think people gotta have stuff to watch. You know? And
I turned cable off years ago.
Yeah, a lot of people.
And me and the wife, we don't watch the same kind of shows. So if I'm watching a show, it's probably something on YouTube.
That's right.
You know, I get done listing a dozen things, and I don't feel like starting in on the next batch of stuff. I want to take a break. I pull up Puddin's Fab Shop or Blacktail Studios Woodworker. I'm not a woodworker, and I can work on cars. In fact, I just replaced the max airflow sensor and the air intake temperature sensor, which both of those things are actually one thing, on my daughter's car the other day. The part was like 120 something bucks, and the dealership was going to try to charge us like $1,200, $1,300, and it's 2 screws. 2 screws holds the damn thing in, and 1 wire clipped to it, and it's right on top, right next to the air filter.
Yep.
It's super easy. It took me less than 3 minutes to pop the old one out, pop the new one in, put the 2 screws back in it, and done.
Yep. It's if you can work on the car, you can save. We got to put one of our cars in tomorrow because I could do it, but the transmission's got to come out of it. And I'm like,
oh yeah.
I was like,
put transmissions in, I take transmissions out. I don't work on transmissions. So like an old school standard transmission, I'll put a new throwout bearing in it.
Sure. Yep.
That's about it.
As far as it goes. Yeah. So I was like, this is not a job for me. Like, I can do a lot. Like, we've re-geared things, we've taken axles out, but like taking that out and figuring out what's wrong with it. And
have you ever taken apart an automatic transmission?
It's a whole bunch of
transmission. Holy,
right?
Yeah, there's like all these little channels that the fluid goes through, and then there's these little ball bearings that go in and seal the hole off. And can you imagine dropping one of those little things and not knowing where it fell out of, or dropping one and not even knowing you dropped it? And it's like, no, thank you.
We had to change the hood shocks on
Good night, Chrissy.
Our Mustang today, and I dropped a bolt. It took me 20 minutes to find a bolt that was this big. I can't imagine dropping a ball bearing out of an automatic transmission. It just wouldn't work out. So
even old standard ones, they've got like 50 gears on a shaft with different little fabric mesh or some kind of soft discs in between them, and they're like clutches. But I'm not taking all that mess apart. You turn one of those things around backwards or get it in the wrong spot, it's like, no, thank you.
Man, the worst thing is when you put it back in and you try to shift, it's not right. Then you got to take it back out.
Yeah. No, in fact, anymore, I don't even pull them. I'll just take out. If I got to call a tow truck and have it towed to the transmission shop, fine. But, if the O2 sensor needs to be replaced. Oh, by the way, if you ever have to replace the oil pressure sensor on a Vortec engine on like a Chevy Silverado truck.
Yeah. The thing in the back of the engine?
Yeah.
Yeah. I did one.
Oh, fun, huh?
Well, I'll tell you why ours was not that bad. Ours is an old cop vehicle,
Uh-huh.
and they had removed what is in the way of that.
Everything.
They
It's
had
like the air plenum and all of that stuff, where like the air intake plenum, you have to reach around behind it. And the hardest part about the whole job is getting the wire disconnected.
See,
Because
ours
it's got this little tab you have to hold
Yep.
pressure on. I could not get enough pressure on that thing. I finally did it. And all day long, just trying to get the wire. Once I got the wire off of it, if you get the extension that has the built-in swivel, not like a universal joints extension, but it's got like the swiveled end, and you get a deep socket. I think it's a 22 or 26 millimeter deep well socket. You can get it down on there. Getting the sensor in and out is easy. Getting that wire disconnected.
Yeah,
there's several hoses and stuff you got to disconnect and lay to the side, but
yeah, I forget why mine was so easy, because I was watching a video on it on YouTube and I was like, dude, this guy's struggling. And I'm like, I can look, I was up on my engine looking over and I can see it perfectly. And I was like, why is he struggling so much? But we are missing a big section or something on this engine for being like something is rerouted because it's a cop vehicle that they have rerouted.
It's probably that two-piece air intake plenum. They probably did away with that and put something better on it.
Yeah, it's something
high
different.
Performance because they need it. But
yeah,
most of those Vortec engines, it's basically an LS engine.
Yeah, that's what I got. Yeah.
But it's that oil pressure sensor is on the back side of it, behind everything, and you're doing everything by feel. I'm in there taking pictures with my phone and blowing it up and holding mirrors and stuff. And
that thing was. God. We got a check engine light, and it was coming from that. It was like so I was like, "What is it?" Because that was up in the mountains. We had to pull up. We thought the car was running fine, but the check engine light, we scanned it real quick, and I was like, "Oh, that can't be that hard." I said, "I'll change in the parking lot of like a Advanced Auto." And I watched the YouTube and I said, "I'm driving this home. I'm not doing this in the parking lot."
Yeah, right. And come to find out later that normally the sensor itself is not bad. There's a little filter screen.
Yep, the screen is
in there, and you can pick that thing out and clean it, put it back in, and put the whole thing back together. But the O2 sensor itself is not that expensive. So
no, it was like 15.
When it's something like it's just like the max airflow sensor. You can clean those things if you're really careful and really, and you buy the correct type of chemical to clean it. They make an max airflow sensor cleaner kit by CRC.
Yep.
Like brake cleaner or electric contact cleaner. They also have a max airflow sensor cleaner, which I'm betting is the exact same thing. It just costs like $32 instead of $6.79.
It's the same stuff.
It's got a different label on the can.
Right. Let's call this type of cleaner, and it is $50. It is the same junk that's coming out of the other can,
and it's half size can though.
Yeah, that's right. I have some actually because. I don't know why. Oh, I think I used it on the other car. But yeah, no, it's funny because that's one thing that I watch is car stuff. That's
and if I pretty much anything like that I'll handle, but if it requires like the transmission to come out, or if it requires a big heavy duty press to take it apart or put it back together, I'll take it to the shop.
Yeah, that we had we were pressing ball joints one time, and we have a big press. But we don't have a hydraulic press. We have like a manual.
Yeah.
Just take it to the shop, have them press your ball joints in. I mean, the aggravation to get it ain't working.
Well, if you're working with the steering or the suspension anyway, you have to go get an alignment done.
Yep.
And the same shop that does the alignment will replace the tie rods, ball joints, all that stuff for you.
Yeah,
and it's 100%. Not that much more expensive than the alignment.
Yeah,
so
and it's already there. It's already up there. Like so. But yeah.
Okay, who is Mass Airflow? Oh, thank you. Okay, well, we got completely sidetracked from reselling. We're talking about working on cars.
But you can also sell stuff. It's already been an hour and 40 minutes.
Has it been that long? It has been that long.
I gotta go to bed.
I got to go get something. I got to go walk my dogs before the sun goes completely down. They hate me already for not taking them.
Yeah, they're like, come on. I got to go outside. It's going to get dark soon.
All right, hey man, I appreciate you being here tonight, and everybody out there. Brett, I saw you come in. Sorry I didn't take a break and say hello, but hello and thank you for coming in. Everybody, I hope you have a great day. What's left of it? A great week. Sell some stuff, list some stuff, do all that reselling stuff. And we'll see you next time. Next Monday, we're going to be here at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So work the math on that, and I'll do my level best to get us another good special guest. May not be as good as Julian, but we'll find something.
Probably be better than me.
All right, everybody. Good night.
See y'all.